Hey, how are you? Glad to have you here today. This is Greg with Brilliant Life Fitness, and one of your coaches here. Between Kristen and I, we're your two main go-tos, and just putting out a little training today. And this is going to be going over some broad topic and broad scope basics that are all encompassing really in our entire fundamental foundation of our entire nutrition, exercise, success principles, um, really encompassing everything that we do and model after. So these are concepts that will go through any of our programs, plans that you're going to be on for the most part, including the Brilliant Life Fit Plan, Flat Abs Fix Coaching, any of those types of models. This is going to be an overview for kind of the progression that you go through and all the broad scope parts that are really the main things that make all the difference in bringing you to from where you are now to the place you want to get to in your goals and progress that you want to make in your nutrition, or I'm sorry, in your fitness and health through proper mindset, success principles, nutrition, and exercise. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to go over. So there, with a human mind, basically, there. If you haven't noticed, you might have already. There's in most books, um, concepts in general, there tends to be a pattern that we process things well in like threes and fives, and so which happens to relate to also span of control when you're talking about leadership. That it's difficult for one person to have more than usually about 3 to 5 people reporting to them because it's just too many things and people to manage. Similar to concepts that you're trying to learn, those threes and fives tend to work better. Similar principle works in marketing and advertising, that things usually are done in threes. Speeches are done that way. Most people that really have it down stick to those types of concepts. So similarly, because that's how the brain works and processes things better, the fundamental principles we have for our model are largely in threes and fives, and five is really predominant for us. You'll notice lots of different things that are in fives as you go. I don't want to confuse the issue here and rattle too many off. But so the big thing we're going to cover today are what we call the 5 pillars. And it's really, again, we address them in each plan or coaching model, but also on our general website because they're the overarching principles that bring the whole thing together that can be done and are best done usually in a progression or at least checked in on to make sure that you have each one accomplished in a certain order. So that's some of what we're going to cover today and some of the pieces and parts that go into each one of those 5 pillars. So hopefully that makes sense, and I'll just dive right into it. Um, if you end up having any questions or anything later, you can always drop comments and tag myself or Kristen, and we can get back to you and answer any questions you might have. Or you can jot them down and bring them to your next call, whatever works for you. So anyway, so just getting you into the pattern and kind of used to how we do things and what we do. Another great way to get started, and one of the ways I'd really recommend, is going through our free 3-in-1 or complimentary 3-in-1 fitness gift pack. So we give that to a lot of people to get them introduced to who we are and what we do. But the fact is, it's actually one of the best ways to get introduced to all of our systems and concepts because it gives you a sample 1-day meal plan so you can get used to our food type key and all those pieces and parts in the food shopping list. Um, what kind of foods we use, some cooking methods that are real basic to get the meal plan taken care of and understand how to do that. And you can always refer to those cooking processes later. We try to keep that stuff pretty simple. And it also has a sample workout, so you'll understand kind of how we put those systems together, what the templates look like, and also some trusted fitness products guide of products we use that we've had good results with, our clients have had good results with to help you shortcut to healthier food choices or exercise equipment that works, things like that. So that's a really good place to start just to get a basic foundation and then also get into these 5 pillars. Or at the same time, you can kind of read the 5 pillars and then go into the gift pack. But either one is going to get you a great start. So, and combining the two will get you even further. So let's get this kicked off. So 5 pillars we're going to talk about. So pillar one is, and I'm going to refer just to make sure that I don't get off track here and I get on a smooth pattern here for us. So pillar one is engage success tools, okay? And what that looks like, well, let me just go over the broad scope of all of them. So pillar one is engage success tools, and which has to do with mindset as well and other concepts. So that's kind of the first thing in the order of operations that you want to take care of. The second thing is moving towards the nutrition piece. The nutrition piece we often put first because it is one of the things that people do tend to struggle with the most, is what we found. And it's what we struggled with the most before we got this down. So choosing healthy, enjoyable foods and understanding what those are, having a list of them, and how to manage them in the best ways are kind of the next concept that most people want and need to get down to get the best results. Exercise for most people is a little easier to master and make time for than the nutrition piece, so that's why we're getting to it first, the nutrition piece. So pillar three is portion control, and for our foundation and principles, it's a way of having simple portion control because we don't make it necessary to count calories, weigh food, or anything like that. If you want to do that stuff, you can. But if you're somebody that's busy, doesn't have that much time, our simple methods of portion control are going to get you to or near the exact same results and goals. It's how we've gotten our best goals. We don't weigh food at all. We don't count calories at all. We look at macros a little bit, and that's only when our hand method is harder to gauge, right? So things like Greek yogurt, I don't want to put that in my hand to measure it. So, so portion control is pillar three. So moving on then, fourth pillar would be eating strategically. And we'll get into the specifics of that. But so you're taking the healthy foods in the right portions, and now you're learning how to systematically eat them to get the greatest results, the most bang for your buck. And it's really not that challenging to do. Once you do this just for a little while, it starts to become automatic, and it's just a system that you know. So it'll become very simple. Don't let any of this be daunting to you. We definitely have a lot of information and content for you, but don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed. For many people, if they just engage success tools a little bit, get their mindset right, choose healthy, enjoyable foods, and maybe a little portion control, that may be all they need to get to their goals for nutrition. So it can be very simple. And some people don't need to get super complex about it, depending on where they want to take their body and their goals. So, so fourth pillar, eat strategically, and we'll get much, much deeper into that later, okay? So exercise strategically is pillar five. So it's exercise strategically and recover. So a lot of programs I found just they teach you how to work out and everything. I come from a background of a recreation administration degree, and so studied a lot of balance and theories of play. I've also studied a lot of ancestral principles of how we were kind of evolved and meant to move as well as eat. So a lot of our foundations come from very ancestral principles that are in line with our current genetics because we really haven't changed or evolved that much. So those are a lot of the foundation, but we've then brought that forward a lot more than many people have as far as the ancestral principles because we've adapted it to modern life and even included foods that some of them don't based on a purist perspective rather than looking at the data and the science and what just plain works anecdotally also in our experiences, right, that we've used for ourselves, that we've used with our clients. So we tend to expand on the ancestral principles of movement and nutrition. So exercise strategically and recover, what's that mean? Again, generally it's kind of using the right workouts at the right times, kind of pairing it with how you're eating. And then recovery is huge, obviously, to be recharged for your personal life, your work life, your business, whatever you're doing. And just to keep the balance, to be able to take care of your family, your children. You got to take care of yourself first and have recovery after your workouts, after your work day, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of this is just about a sequence that makes sense as well as balance between the five pillars themselves. So hopefully that's making sense to you guys so far. Tried not to drill too far into those yet. So now we'll go back and talk about them a little more. And so we'll go back now. So this is the five pillars. This is the whole foundation of the entire program that you're in. And so the first one's engage success tools. So I'm going to go through with you just a little bit first what some of those success tools are, right? So we include a lot of different kind of templates and principles and sections for you to make sure that you have something tangible to use to get you on track. So we're not just sitting here telling you, oh, do this, do that. We want you to have something to refer to that's concrete, to be able to follow, learn from, repeat, so that you can practice that, create good habits out of it, and make it automatic in the long run. So 5 pillars, again, going to Engage Success Tools. So there's 5 parts to the Engage Success Tools piece itself. So again, we talked about 5s. Well, here's another 5. So the Engage Success Tools is the broad scope. What are those success tools? I'll go through a little thing on how they transition actually here, is that for many people, these 5 things start off being what I call the friends of failure. And so, and it's because they're not paying attention to the 5 principles I'm about to bring up. And these exact same 5 things, when you do pay attention to and address them, the name changes and how they function in your life changes from ineffective to effective now. So ineffective friends of failure to effective 5 soldiers of success. Okay, so that's just I try to name things and give you some learning tools there. Also, I know over the course of time, at least for me, that's helped me learn and remember and memorize when I need to. Mnemonics and just rhymes and things like that really help make it much easier to learn and hold on to fundamentals for most people. If it's not a thing for you, that's fine too, if you learn just a little differently. But I'm trying to hit on all these things, again, giving you the tangible tools, visual, verbal, auditory, giving you all of those ways to learn the material here and discover how to really get where you want to go at a much more rapid pace than it was for us, because this took years of research, trial and error, reading books, all that kind of stuff, just studying for a very long time and tripping up and going through a lot of failures. And because of our struggles, we don't want other people to have to go through that. So that's why we do what we do here. I don't want people to go through the torture I went through and the challenges I went through to the depth and difficulty that I did. And Kristen feels the same way, because we both had a lot of difficulties with all the things that we now help other people succeed at and improve upon in their lives. So 5 friends or 5 friends of failure that now effectively become the 5 soldiers of success include your positive mentality that you need to create and maintain. You've got to have proper planning in place. Again, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So make sure you address the planning piece. And the planning piece is then done to line out so you can do the preparation piece, which is the 3rd part of the 5 soldiers of success. And so, again, we're at positive mentality first, and then institute planning. The planning happens so that you can get your preparation done. What does preparation mean? That could be doing meal prep and bulk cooking a couple of times a week, getting your food shopping done from the food shopping list, things like that, right? Are the preparatory steps that you have to have, and then prepping and cooking your food, or understanding how, if you're eating out, to order it in a way that's going to keep you on target and keep you on the plan, keep you on a direct path to your goals. So that's a lot of the, again, planning that gets you to the capability of doing the preparation, and then to be sure that you're doing all that. So the 4th part of the 5 soldiers of success is tracking. So it's the piece that's going to make sure that you're following through on what you say you're going to do and how the plan is outlined so you get where you want to go. So Peter Drucker said, what gets, oh geez, what, I can't think of the quote. What gets measured gets managed, right? So that's what this is. Tracking is measuring. And so it's assessing ourselves, and it's making sure, well, Kristen and I have this log on a legal pad that we've had since about 2012, logging basically, and this is how the 4-point transformation, body transformation tracker came into being, is because we started doing it on a legal pad and took that formula and created templates out of it for you guys to use. And so we have things that we've measured and tracked for years now and have records of all that. And now we can do it digitally and hold the records that way, so we don't have to have piles of paper or notepads or whatever. But point being, tracking is the next piece, that if something's not going quite right, and maybe you're not losing the weight you want to, but you haven't at all tracked what you're eating, written down what meals you're having in the day, or let's say you're trying to follow the plan, you think you're doing it correctly, but again, you're not losing the weight you want to, or not putting on the muscle you want to, or whatever that happens to be. So by tracking and say doing the biggest tracker in my opinion is the 4-point body transformation tracker, where you're measuring what goes on in your body and what results you're getting using a tape, a caliper, a photo, things like that, right? And even the scale to give you another check-in point, not the most important one of all of them in my opinion, but it's there. And so if you're not tracking and now you're trying to address some issues that have been going on, it's very difficult for us to help you and for you to even know or help yourself if you've not tracked your body's changes and progress over time. So, but if you measure it, you can now manage it and make the adjustments to get going and get the results you're seeking instead of being stuck and struggling, wondering why it's going wrong. So, again, Peter Drucker said it, what gets measured gets managed. Tripped over that a minute ago, but there it is. So make sure you're doing tracking as appropriate. We may ask you to do certain tracking pieces more at certain times, or if there's a certain piece that you're struggling with. The main thing is do the 4-point body transformation tracker. But we might institute a workout progress tracker or the daily meal and workout tracker to see what you're eating and kind of log some of that if we're having challenges, just to make sure maybe you're misunderstanding a principle of the nutrition or something like that and just kind of missing the boat a little bit, and we can make a slight tweak. And next thing you know, you're on track off to the races, getting the results you're looking for, okay? So that's the tracking piece. And so when you do all 4 of those things, now you're set up to take action, right? And do all the actions that are necessary to actually get you there. But if you don't lay a foundation, like anything else, if you don't lay a foundation of a house, it's not going to stay standing, right? So you need a foundation for yourself, for your nutrition, for your exercise to be successful in this. And a lot of the pieces aren't just eating the right thing or moving the right way. It's actually implementing these other systems, because if you're not right here and not in the right mindset to be motivated to move forward intrinsically and find the right external motivation, you're not going to get anywhere, right? You're not going to take action. You might be beating yourself up unnecessarily. So that's a really important part. So got to have the positive mentality first, and then you got to make sure you're doing proper planning, which we're going to provide a lot of that obviously for you, and then help you tweak that for yourself personally to then get the preparation done that you need, do a little tracking in between, and then your action is going to be that much more effective as you do the nutrition and exercise because of all the previous steps that you've taken care of, right? And we're going to give you tools to do this. So I'm just going to go through a few things you might see. You don't have to memorize these or anything. I just want you to know all these tools are in here for you. So there's what we call positive mental maintenance tools. And so it's for creation of your positive mindset and then how to maintain it. There are a lot of little steps and tricks in there that you can use to do that. And you can follow along with this in your guide. You can have that up right now if you wanted to, digitally, or print out a part of it or whatever. But this is just kind of an overview, just to get you into it a little bit and have you understanding how this works mainly. You don't have to memorize anything right now, just trying to get some basic understanding. So next thing I'll mention is the win the week and win the day planning templates that you can use to have portions where we can just teach you how to backwards plan and put in your non-negotiables first, so that all the important stuff to get you where you want to go really gets done, and then put in extraneous things and planning pieces that you otherwise need or want to get done. So huge piece there. We talk about the 3 different trackers: the body transformation tracker, daily meal and workout tracker, and workout performance tracker. Those 3. For the 4-point body tracker, there is a men's and women's version because it find different benefits for measuring different areas on men and women when it comes especially to using a tape to measure circumference of like your waist and hips and areas like that, chest, all those kinds of things. So it's done just a little differently for men and women, so there are 2 different trackers for that purpose based on your gender. So keep it as simple as that these days. So next piece is going to be goal card templates. This is a huge piece that I've picked up along the way from some of my mentors. And it's just, we've got a system in there, and you've probably heard of Smarter Goals. We use the Smarter Goals foundation of how to build these goal cards or come to your goals. But the concept of having a goal card that you can print off, cut out, and stick in your pocket and keep it with you. And every time you reach in your pocket to grab your keys or whatever, you touch that, or it could be in your purse, and same principle. So you see it, you touch it, you pull it out, you read it at times, but sometimes if you know what your goal is, which you should, right? That's a big piece of this. When you touch that card, you will be reminded of your goal, and that will help you stay on track and eat the things you're meant to eat and be motivated to get your workout done. Because you're like, oh yeah, there's a reason I'm doing this. It's because I want this outcome. It's the outcome, the driver, the goal, the end goal. And then there's end goals, right? And there's means goals, means to an end. So if you're doing the small actions along the way, many call objectives, right? You're going to eventually make your way to the bigger piece, the chunk, the end goal, that is the all-encompassing thing you're trying to reach with your fitness and health, right? And it just to improve your life overall. This is all about lifestyle improvement, globally. When you really get down to it, that's what we're all about. And it's done through a lot of different principles, including the success principles, nutrition, exercise. But it's more of a global thing about just improving your life in all ways. So we hope you get that that's really the goal here. That's what we're all about. That's what we want to bring and help you improve in all avenues. So. And then another piece is there's a section that I've written that's about navigating culture and taking action and how that works within culture and society, right? And some just tips and tricks on how to manage that. So that's another piece you'll have for engaging success tools. Next thing is choose healthy, enjoyable food. So that was pillar one, engage success tools. This is now moving to the next level. Once you got kind of mindset established and gotten yourself wrapped around that a little bit, and maybe you've already got that down to a science, but at least go through that section and see what you need to address. The quick start guide is great for helping you determine where you need to start, whether it's more with success principles, nutrition, or exercise, to really get the thing that's going to give you the biggest impact and that you're motivated to do and improve right away first. So make sure you look at that quick start guide. That'll really help walk you through all of this and how to go about it. If you need help, again, reach out. We can help you figure out anything you need. So pillar two, again, choose healthy, enjoyable foods. Well, the problem with that is often in the past, like for Kristen and I, for example, and many of our clients, think that they're eating healthy foods, right? But unfortunately, the food industry over time, they placard things with healthy, heart healthy, all this kind of stuff. But it could be a box of something processed that has a bunch of sugar in it or whatever. And because there's a little bit of fiber, they can say it's heart healthy. And really compared to like vegetables, there's really not that much fiber. So they can really fool you into thinking you're eating healthy when you're not. And so choose healthy, enjoyable foods. This is huge. So we've come up with something that's, again, on the very root of it is somewhat ancestrally based on what we were made to eat, just how we developed genetically. And so we've enhanced that list, obviously, but it's also very good for keeping